The Model Millionaire by Oscar Wilde. Second one, The Conjurer's Revenge by Stephen Leacock. And the third story by R.K. Narayan, that is An Astrologer's Day. Assignment, seminar and group discussion which has a weightage of 10 marks. The fourth one was writing about 1.5 page from the short stories. But the fifth question includes where you are supposed to write about 1.5 pages from the essays. Hi, hello everyone. Myself, B. Shobha Rani, Faculty in English, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, Mysuru. Welcome you all to my first introductory session of First Sem BCom English. What am I going to cover in this particular session? In this particular session, I am going to introduce you all to the syllabus, First Sem BCom syllabus, as well as I am going to discuss about the pattern of evaluation as well the pattern of question paper. So this particular session is the introductory session of First Sem BCom. It's a very, very important session where you will get to know about the syllabus as well the pattern of evaluation as well as the pattern of question paper. So let me move on to the syllabus. This particular First Sem BCom English syllabus has 4 units where the first unit is nothing but the poems. Poems like Went to the Sessions of Sweet Silent Thought by William Shakespeare. And this is the sonnet 30 among the 154 sonnets of William Shakespeare, which is called as a Shakespearean sonnet. And the second poem is The World is Too Much With Us by William Wordsworth, which is a Petrarchan sonnet. Moving on to the third poem of Unit 1, that is Ring Out Wild Bells by Alfred Lord Tennyson. And the fourth poem, Piano by D.H. Lawrence. Next comes the fifth poem of Unit 1, There Will Come Soft Rains by Sarah Teasdale. And the sixth and the last poem of Unit 1, which includes The Diameter of the Bomb by Yehuda Amichai. So the first unit of this First Sem BCom English syllabus includes poems like the first one, Went to the Sessions of Sweet Silent Thought by William Shakespeare. Second one, The World is Too Much With Us by William Wordsworth. Ring Out Wild Bells by Alfred Lord Tennyson. The fourth poem, that is Piano by D.H. Lawrence. And the fifth poem, There Will Come Soft Rains by Sarah Teasdale. And the sixth and the last poem of Unit 1, that is The Diameter of the Bomb, Yehuda Amichai. So let me move on to the second unit. What does it include? The second unit includes short stories, which is a very, very interesting part of the syllabus, wherein the first short story is about The Model Millionaire by Oscar Wilde. And the second short story by Stephen Leacock is The Conjurer's Revenge. And the third and the most interesting story by R.K. Narayan is An Astrologer's Day. So the Unit 2, which is a very interesting part of the syllabus, includes short stories like the first one. You can see the authors of the short stories in this picture. The Model Millionaire by Oscar Wilde. Second one, The Conjurer's Revenge by Stephen Leacock. And the third story by R.K. Narayan, that is An Astrologer's Day. So Unit 1 included the poems, whereas the Unit 2 includes the short stories. Then what is the Unit 3 all about? Unit 3 includes what we call it as essays. So Unit 1 poems, Unit 2 short stories, and Unit 3 essays. For example, like the first essay, Travel by Train by J.B. Priestley. Second essay, How to Escape from Intellectual Rubbish by Bertrand Russell. And the third essay, Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish by Steve Jobs. So what is the third unit? Third unit of the syllabus, First Sem BCom English syllabus includes essays like the first one, Travel by Train by J.B. Priestley. Second one, How to Escape from Intellectual Rubbish by Bertrand Russell. And the third essay, that is Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish by Steve Jobs. Let me move on to the last but one unit of your syllabus, that is the fourth unit, which includes the language components. And this particular section of your syllabus, that is unit 4 language component, is very, very important. As you know, it is very important for us to frame sentences, and that too without any grammatical mistakes. If you want to write any essay or short story or annotate the poems, we need to know the appropriate grammar. And this particular fourth unit includes the language component like the punctuation, which is very, very essential to frame a sentence, as well the articles, the third one called subject verb agreement, and the fourth language component is the preposition. So the fourth unit, that is the language component, includes the first component called the punctuation, second component is called articles, and the third includes what we call it as subject verb agreement, and the fourth one is the preposition. So this is all about your syllabus. So unit 1 poems, unit 2 short stories, unit 3 essays, and unit 4 language component. Hope you are through with the syllabus that is being prescribed for the first sem BCom English. Let me move on to the pattern of evaluation. So what is the pattern of evaluation for the English subject for the first sem BCom students? Here, the first, that is what we call it as the formative assessment and assessment occasion, that is the type of assessments what you have and the weightage of marks for each assessment. So as you know, there is continuous assessment, that is C1, where you are given assignments to write and come. And the second, that is which also includes what we call it as assignment, seminar and group discussion, which has a weightage of 10 marks. And continuous assessment, that is what you will have your internal tests, that includes 10 marks. So you have around like 20 marks for your internals, which includes both the assignments as well as your internal tests. And at the end of, you have a semester end exam, which is for 80 marks. So the total marks that is assigned for your English subject in first sem BCom is 100 marks, where you have 20 for your internals, which includes the assignment as well the internal test, and the 80 marks, that is the theory part what you are going to write at the end of the semester exam, that is for 80 marks. So total it is for 100 marks. Hope you all have understood the pattern of evaluation for your first sem BCom English. Let me move on to the next slide, which is very important for you all, where I am going to brief up about the pattern of question paper that you have for your end semester examination, which is for 80 marks. So I have discussed about the 20 marks assessment part as well. Now I am going to discuss about the theory paper, that is at the end of the semester exam, which is for 80 marks. So maximum marks is how much? 80 marks. And what is the duration of exam? It is for 3 hours. Maximum marks is 80, as well for the internals it is 20. So total marks that is there for your English for first sem BCom is 100, where it is distributed into 20 plus 80. 20, that is your assignment, assessment. Next, the internal test what you have, as well the maximum marks what you have for the end semester exam, which includes 100. That is totally it is 100 marks. 80 plus 20. So I am going to discuss about the 80 marks, that is your pattern of question paper of the end semester examination, and the time duration is 3 hours. So the total question paper is divided into 9 parts here. You can see 9 questions, you can say. Instead of parts, we can call it as 9 questions. So let me move on to the first question. That is, it will be always from the poems. So where you need to annotate 2 of the poems, which is lines, which is given from the poems out of 4. So annotate means you have to analyze the lines of the poems that is given in this particular first question, where 4 questions will be asked, where you can write any 2 out of 4, where you can see the marks for it. that is 5 marks each. So 2 annotations, 5 marks each, it is 10 marks. Hope I am clear in this particular question. That is the first question of your theory part, that is the end of a semester examination, which is for 80 marks. The first one is annotate 2 out of 4 from poetry. That is, this particular question is always from the poetry. It is like fixed. It is always from poetry. Annotate means you have to analyze the lines of the poems that is being given. So where you have to analyze any 2 from the questions given from the 4, where it is for 5 marks each. So 2 5s are 10. Moving on to the next question. Answer 2 out of 4 in about a page and a half each from the poetry. The first question was all about just analyzing the lines that is given from the poems. But this particular second question is writing about, now it is like an essay form, right? So answer 2 out of 4 in about a page and a half each from the poetry. So here again 2, but here you must understand that this question is very, very important because it carries a big marks. So, it carries, each one carries 10 marks. So, imagine this particular question all alone is for 20 marks. So, how important this second question is. So, the first question is for 10 marks. Second, that is the annotations from the poem, that is 10 marks. And the essay type of questions from the same poetry, it is for 20 marks. Poems itself, the first very important unit of your syllabus, which is about the poems, carries all alone 30 marks. So imagine how important poems are for you all to score good marks. Moving on to the third question. So hope I am clear with the first and the second question. Let me move on to the third question. Answer 10 out of 12 in a word or a phrase or a sentence each. So this is a very, very nice question of your question paper, because here answer 10 out of 12. So either you can write the answers in the form of a word based on the questions that is asked. If at all they ask only about the poet name, then you can write it in a word, or if you are supposed to frame it into a set of words where you call it as a phrase or a sentence. From the short stories and essays. So this particular question 3 is asked from the short stories and the essays, but not from the poems. Poem includes only the first and the second question. Hope I am clear in this particular explanation. So the first and the second question is all about the poems, whereas the third question is pertaining to the short stories and the essays. So answer 10 out of 12 in a word or a phrase or a sentence each from short stories and essays. So here each question, 10 you are supposed to answer out of 12, and each question carries 1 mark each. So it is for 10 marks. That is 10 questions into 1 mark each is how much? 10 marks. So you have covered 10, 20, that is 30 and 40. 40 marks here itself. So when you complete around third question of your question paper, almost you would have completed, that is 40 marks. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 4. Answer 1 out of 2 in about a page and a half from short stories. So this particular question, that is third and fourth, pertains to about, both are from the short stories, but as well it also includes what? Essays and additional essays. From the essays also it is asked. And this particular question, question 4, is answer any one. 1 out of how many questions will be asked? 2. So you have a choice. For each question you have a choice. So that is the best part, where you can at least choose the question which you are through with and you can start writing. So answer 1 out of 2 in about a page and a half from the short story. So 1 means, imagine the marks allotted. It is for 10 marks. Again, it is a very big mark where you have to be very careful while writing about the explanation of the short stories, and a brief account of the author who has written the short story is very important for you all to score good marks. So answer 1 out of 2 in about a page and a half from short stories. So once again, let me brief up. So this is the pattern of question paper. At the end semester examination, what do you have for 80 marks, and the duration of the exam is for 3 hours. So the first question includes annotations from the poems, where 2 out of 4 you are supposed to answer. And the second question is answer 2 out of 4 in about a page and a half each. That is also from poetry. And the third question, answer 10 out of 12 in a word or a phrase or sentence each from short stories and essays. And the fourth question, answer 1 out of 2 in about a page and a half from short stories. So 10, 20, 10 and 10. So 10, that is 30, 40 and 50. So by the time you complete question number 4, you would have completed 50 marks. So let me move on to the fifth question. Answer 1 out of 2 in about a page and a half from essays. The fourth one was writing about 1.5 page from the short stories. But the fifth question includes where you are supposed to write about a page and a half from the essay. So explain the essays. Like for example, there is one essay called Travel by Train by J.B. Priestley. Like that, if any one of the essays is given, question is asked about the essay, particular essay, you are supposed to answer and write about a page and a half from the essays, where you can see the marks allotted for it. Again, it is a very big mark. 10 marks means you should be very, very particular about the explanation of the essay, as well maintain the grammatical things, very important, as well the spellings. Then moving on to sixth question, particularly from 6 to 9, which includes the language component. So this particular question number 6, 7, 8 and 9 is from the unit 4 of your syllabus, that is the language. You can see the first question. So language components are like what you have for the syllabus. Fourth unit of your syllabus is the language component, which includes punctuation, articles, subject verb agreement, as well the prepositions. But here you can see, make out the sixth question, grammar and usage questions from language component, that is particularly from punctuation. So questions will be given where you have to punctuate the following. It will be given like punctuate the following. You have to use the right punctuation marks. This is for 5 marks. The full language component all alone is for 20 marks. It is for 20 marks, right? Here you can see 10. So already it was 50. 50 plus 10, it is 60. And language component, it is 20. So totally it is 80 marks, right? So here you can make out, by the time you complete fifth question, you will be completing how many marks? 60 marks. And the rest 20 marks is from the language component, where the sixth one includes grammar and usage questions from language component, that is from the punctuation. So questions will be given just without any punctuation marks will be given. You are supposed to punctuate the following sentences, and it is for 5 marks. Hope I am clear in this particular explanation. Moving on to the seventh question, that is same from the language component, grammar and usage questions from language component, that is from the articles. So you need to use an appropriate articles for the following sentences. So you know how important articles are, particularly both definite and indefinite articles are there. So you are supposed to use the appropriate articles for the following sentences, and that is also for 5 marks. So 5 questions, each question 1 mark, so it is 5 marks. Here also same, 5 questions will be given, 1 mark each for 5 questions, that is for 5 marks. Moving on to the 8th question, that is again from the language component, which includes grammar and usage questions from language component, that is from the subject verb agreement. And this particular question, that is question number 8 of your question paper, includes again the language component, but from which part of the language component it is asked? It is asked from the subject verb agreement. 5 questions will be given, where each question carries 5 marks. It is for 5 marks. Then moving on to the last but one question of your question paper, that is same from the language component, that is grammar and usage questions from language component, and that too from the preposition. So 5 questions will be given, and you are supposed to use the right prepositions. That is 5 questions, 1 mark each, that is 5. So here itself you can make out that from the language component itself it is 20 marks. So please do not neglect the language component part of your question paper, which is very, very important for your further study of English, because without proper language you will not be able to use or write or even speak the right English. So it is very, very important part of your question paper. And once again I will brief up as to the question now 5 of your question paper includes from the essay part, where you are supposed to write about a page and a half from essays, which is for 10 marks. And the sixth one, grammar and usage questions from language component, that is from punctuation. As I already said that the 6th, 7th and 8th and 9th question, the 4 questions, the last 4 questions are from the language. The questions are framed from the language component, where the 6th one is always from the punctuation, 7th is from the articles, and 8th is from the subject-verb agreement, and 9 is from the preposition. But for this you will not have any choice, so you should be very, very particular while answering the questions. For the rest, like at least from 1 to 5, at least you will have a choice questions, but here you will not have any choice. So you are supposed to use, because only 5 questions are asked and each question carries 1 mark. So you must be very sure about your language components, may it be a punctuation or may it be articles or subject-verb agreement or prepositions. Hope I am through with the syllabus that is there for your first sem BCom. So I have discussed in this particular session about the syllabus, about the first sem BCom English, as well the pattern of evaluation and the pattern of question paper. Thank you.